Hello and welcome to our yoga class. My name is Vanessa. I'm here to support you for the rest of the class. Thank you for opening up this video. So we'll begin class by finding a seat, and I recommend a cross-legged position and an effort of balance. Sometimes one leg will have a tendency to be most forward or on top, so see which leg it is for you and then switch it out. Again, in an effort of balance, start to notice how we have a tendency to favor different sides of our bodies. And our yoga practice is an opportunity to balance that out. And you're checking in here. You're noticing your breath, where it's at. No judgment of the breath, if it's long or shallow. Just seeing where your breath is at, making those adjustments to sit more comfortably in your seat, not only more comfortably, but also with more integrity. So we have tendencies to slouch or cave our shoulders forward, or our core isn't as active. So we're being purposeful here and activating that core strength. Just by activating core strength, you're gonna naturally lengthen the spine and find a little lift in the chest. So notice that it isn't that you're seeking just a straight spine, you're also activating the core to support you in that. So be aware of those body parts that are supporting you with different expressions in your body. Hands rest on your knees, palms on your knees, or palms facing up towards the ceiling. It creates a different inner experience if your palms are facing up. Very open, very receptive. When your hands are on your knees, you're more of this closed loop of energy. So see what supports you. For the next couple of breath cycles, we're going to start to invite some more intentional breaths. So I recommend either closing your eyes or keeping your gaze steady across the floor room. Now, if your eyes are open, keeping that gaze steady is essential. It's part of practicing that mindfulness. When we're very busy with our thoughts, that's when our eyes tend to flicker flicker in and out a lot. So try to keep that gaze steady if your eyes are open. We're going to lengthen the length of your inhale and exhale. Just a little longer than you're accustomed to. A few breaths like this, you can inhale and exhale side out at any time. And then know that throughout the class, we're continuously returning to the breath to arrive to this moment. And it's our breath that supports us as we're exploring the poses and working on our strength, flexibility, and balance. So there's practical uses of paying attention to our breath. And our breath also helps support bridging that physical, mental, emotional body. This is why I emphasize the breath throughout the class. And after another intentional breath or two, if your eyes are closed, start to open your eyes. You need to shift your eyes from that steady gaze. Go ahead, go for it. Our hands now rest on our knees, so make sure palms are on the knees. Bring your shoulders up towards your ears, draw them back. So we're going to try a couple times backwards, or back, bringing your shoulder blades closer together. We'll also practice shifting your shoulders up towards your ears, and as I'm demonstrating now, forward. Now if you've done a couple of rounds here, release your shoulders, drop your chin towards your chest, roll your head from one shoulder to the next. We're taking care of our neck. We tend to tense up around the neck and shoulders when we're stressed. Also, when we're driving in front of our laptops, computers, and offices and seated, we tend to round our spine. Once again, crunching up around neck and shoulders. So take a moment here to balance out, open up. Notice any points that might feel a little tense or sore. A few more breaths here. If you prefer to work on some meditation right now, you do have that option. Bringing your head back to a point of stillness, noticing your breath. Another breath here or two with these neck rolls. Our head comes back to a neutral position. We're going to take our hands behind us, interlace our fingers. Palms either touch or they don't. Extend your elbows and purposely bringing my shoulder blades closer together. Hold. I'm keeping my gaze steady. I'm looking straight ahead. Inhale and exhale here. And then very gently start to lift your chin towards the ceiling, not all the way up, just enough, lifting your gaze. And then release your hands. This time cup your forearms with your hands, or you can come into reverse prayer. There's actually three options. You can cup your forearms with your hands, cup your elbows with your hands, or come into reverse prayer, both palms touching behind you. You shift your hands up as high as you can. Hold. Belly and rib cage expand with your breath. Breathe into that left shoulder, right shoulder. Release, hands on your knees. Lift your shoulders up once and back, and then once and forward. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead, palms up towards the ceiling. Lengthen your elbows here, hold. Stretch towards the left. Anchor your sit bones onto the mat. Focus on your right side body. Chin is neutral. Back to center, opposite side. Inhale. Exhale. Back to center, round your spine. Palms towards the front, chin towards chest. And release, hands on your knees, shoulders up towards your ears. Once back, and then up towards your ears, forward. Once you've taken those two rounds, let's start to focus on our lower body. We're still going to invite some twists though. So press your right foot right against your thigh, and then lengthen that left leg. For now, we're going to flex our left foot. Lengthen our spine here. Noticing what's activated here, you can have a little micro bend to that left knee, and then fold. Hands can reach anywhere, thighs, shins, or toes. You're focusing on your hamstring, anywhere else as well. Activating around the calf all the way up to the hip and lower back. Breathe into your boundary. Belly expand on the inhale, exhale. And then release. Plant that right foot onto the mat. Take your left arm out, twist towards the right. As I'm twisting here, I'm very purposely flexing my left foot, lengthening my spine, opening my chest, shifting my shoulder towards that right shoulder. You want to be active here, not passive. Invite a comfortable breath, whatever is available for you right now. And then release. Opposite side, lengthen that right leg, press your left foot right against your thigh. And invite a little micro bend to that knee, lead to your chest, your heart, and fold. Inhale. And exhale. Release. Plant that left foot onto the mat. Take your right arm out, twist towards the left. Take your gaze over that left shoulder. Flex that right foot, lengthen your spine. Chest is open, find that comfortable breath. Release. We'll release the pose. We'll shift into a tabletop. Plant your hands right beneath your shoulders. Let's inhale, lift up into a cow pose. You're lifting your tailbone here, opening your chest. Exhale, tucking that tailbone in. Move a couple of times at your own pace. And you're taking up your breath, inhaling cow, exhaling cat, or remaining an extra breath cycle or two in any of these poses. That's fine to inhale and exhale into the pose. And after a few breath cycles here, start to lift up, downward facing dog. Hold. Lift your hips, press your palms onto the mat, bring your chest closer towards your thighs. deep belly breath. Now take your gaze right between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold. Left hand onto the mat, reach that right arm up towards the ceiling. Generous bend to your left knee. Find that comfortable breath. You're in a twist. Your hips and hamstrings are opening up. There's a lot going on here. Release, opposite side. Right hand on the floor. Lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Take your gaze there. Release your hand. Soften neck and head. We're going to very purposely slowly lift to standing. As slow as you can, dangling your arms. Your spine slowly lengthens. You're gently applying pressure on your heels, your toes. There is no hurry. As we learn to physically slow down, that also affects that mental and emotional area as well. Slowing down there as well. We'll shift into a mountain pose, an active mountain pose with hands framing our hips. Eyes can be closed or they can be open. Now, by an active mountain pose, I mean that if I try to move you, it'd be difficult to do so. Core is active, your heels are anchored, your arms are active, palms purposely open and fingers purposely radiate out. It'd be difficult to budge you out of this position if I push you. Notice that stillness we've been cultivating since the beginning of class. Inhaling and exhaling for the day you've had. Inhaling and exhaling for this moment. And inhaling and exhaling for the rest of our day. Soften your mountain pose. Notice that transition just by softening yourself out of that pose. Very good. We're going to shift here into a warrior one, taking our left foot forward, right leg steps back, our right foot is going to be in a diagonal. Hips are naturally open here. Arms stacked parallel to the mat, to the floor. Keep your gaze steady over that left hand. Engage your glutes here. This is a strong pose of determination and power and strength. Inhale from your heels. Imagine a line of energy from one fingertip to the other. Breathe up to the crown of your head. Chest is open, slide the shoulders down. Activate your glutes and your quads. Release that right hand behind your thigh. Lift that left arm up. You're strengthening the lower back, stretching the side body here. And back to center, warrior two. Inhale. Exhale. Bring that right arm over. Imagine you're holding a ball between your hands. Giant beach ball. Inhale. Exhale, drop your elbow right on top of your thigh, reach your right arm out. You either stay here or lengthen that left leg. Drop your hand towards the shin, ankle, floor. Take your gaze up towards the ceiling very purposely. Shift that right shoulder back and reach up with your arm. Exhale, release, soften your neck, your head. Breathe into your left hip, left hamstring. Anchor through that right heel. Soften neck and head. Hands to reach forward, hands beneath your shoulders. Press that left foot onto the floor. Lift your right leg as high as you can. Right foot meets that left foot. Let's inhale halfway up. Exhale, release, step back, plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale here, exhale.
Take your gaze right between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. And then exhale, release, roll up slowly. Arms dangle as slow as you can. There is no hurry. Spine slowly lengthens. You'll shift into that active mountain pose. Eyes open, gaze steady, or eyes closed. If I tried to move you, it'd be difficult to do so. Steady your breath. And then release that mountain pose. You can pedal your feet back and forth. Now we'll shift into warrior two, taking our right foot forward, stepping our left leg back. 90-degree bend to that right knee. Take your gaze over that right hand. And then release that left hand right behind your thigh. Lift your right arm up. Come back to center, warrior two. Breathing from your heels, imagining that line of energy from one fingertip to the other. Swing that left arm over. Imagine you're holding that giant beach ball between your hands. Keep a bend to that right knee. Release your elbow right on top of your thigh. Lift your left arm up, either remaining here or lengthening that right knee. Dropping your hand to shins or toes. Lift your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then release. Hands on the mat. Breathe into that right hip, right hamstring. And then inch your hands forward. Lift that left leg as high as you can. Anchor through that right foot. Drop your belly, your chest. Soften your neck, your head. Left foot meets that right foot. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, softening neck and head. Step back, plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hold. Hold your down dog. Inhale here. And then exhale, release to your plank pose. Hold your plank pose. Imagine a cord, lifting your core up towards the ceiling. And then drop your knees onto the mat. Drop all the way down, belly on the mat. 3 rounds. Interlace your fingers behind you. Point your toes. Inhale up. Exhale. Release. Inhale up. Use your breath to help find that lift. After those 3 rounds, release. Both arms lift, both legs lift. Inhale up, exhale, release. You want to engage your glutes for support. Inhale up, exhale, release. Move into your 3rd round. 4th. As you reach your 5th round, remain there an extra breath cycle 2 or 3. Hold here, sliding your shoulders back, making sure your shoulders aren't crunching up next to your ears. Lots of strength here throughout the back. You're strengthening throughout the glutes and quads as well. Lots of strength here around the biceps as well. And release. One cheek onto the mat. Soften and relax here. Try to keep an even breath. It's hard to take a deep breath when your belly is on the mat, but you can take a present and aware breath. Try to practice relaxing your body while being mentally attentive and aware of your breath. You want to notice that we can relax our bodies, yet still remain attentive. A few more breaths here, softening down the spine to your hips, down to your toes. And after a breath or two here, we'll start to shift to the same sequence. Interlace your fingers behind you, either palms touching or not. So you're very purposely drawing your shoulder blades together. You're pointing your toes in, inhale up, toes can float off the floor, or toes can remain on the mat. Move through 3 rounds, finding that breath to help find that lift, that inhale, and then exhale, release. And then after those 3 rounds, both arms forward, palms facing each other, both legs lift, both arms lift, inhale up, exhale, release. Notice core strength, quad strength, glute strength, and the strength throughout the lower back, mid back, upper back. You're also opening and stretching throughout the length of the back. You want to be gentle here, move intentionally, inhaling up and exhaling down. On the 5th round, mentally prepare yourself to remain lifted. 1 extra breath, 2 or 3, work on that endurance. Once you've gone through your round to hold the pose, opposite cheek onto the mat. Here, again, where you purposely soften and relax. You want to practice that relaxation, yet remaining attentive and aware. Notice your breath cycles. Do your very best to notice consecutive breath cycles while simultaneously softening the body. Noticing that influx in energy from those poses.
Another 2 or 3 breaths. And then you'll start to release the pose, taking your hands to frame your chest. Start to shift into an upward facing dog. And then shift into a downward facing dog. Once in your down dog, lifting your left leg, bend your left knee, stack your hips. And then left knee towards that left elbow. Lift your leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Left knee towards that right elbow. Lift your leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Release your foot back down towards the floor and then opposite side to find a generous breath. Lift your right leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Right knee towards that right elbow, hover, press into your palms. Lift your leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. And then knee towards your left elbow, hover, lift your core towards the ceiling. Press through your palms, lift your leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. And then release your foot back down towards the floor. Knees onto the mat, shift down into a child's pose. Knees together or towards the edges of your mat, gathering your breath here. If you have trouble concentrating, just lengthen the length of your inhale and exhale just a little bit. Inhale. Exhale, start to release the pose. Both palms underneath your shoulder. Press that left palm onto the mat. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. And then needle pose, you're gonna drop that right shoulder onto the mat. Lift your left leg up, left arm towards the ceiling. Either keeping that arm lifted or resting your hand on your lower back. And then release. Inhale up, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, cat pose. And then opposite side, press that right palm onto the floor and then lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Release that left shoulder onto the mat. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling, hold, either keeping your arm lifted or resting your hand on your lower back. Release your hand. Inhale up, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, cat pose. And release. We'll come to sit. You want to lengthen your legs out into a V. Leading through your chest, your heart. You're going to shift toward your right leg and fold over your thigh. Now your hands can reach the thigh, shins, or toes. Eventually, we're going to fold down the middle. So that is the goal.
And then release, come back to center. Opposite side, twist towards your left foot. Fold towards your thigh. Hold here. Release, come back to center. Take your hands forward and fold. You're gonna invite a little bend to your knees here. We'll be here for a few cycles of breath. Allow yourself to deepen. Soften neck and head. Make sure you're not crunching around the neck and shoulders. Focus here in the lower body. Inhale here. And then exhale, release. Bring both soles of the feet together. You can rest your elbows right behind the creases of your knees. Lead through your chest, your heart, and fold. Deep belly breath. And then release. We'll lengthen our legs out, palms up towards the ceiling, chin towards chest, slowly release down. Hover here. Core is active, and then drop your head all the way back. Bend both knees, both feet float off the floor. Rock to the left and to the right. Massage around the lower back, around the tailbone. Inhale, exhale. Start to lengthen both legs up, palms on the mat. Slowly release your heels, find a point to hover. Your feet can float off the mat, 1 foot, 2 feet off the floor. Glutes, quads, core are active. Release. Soften around the tailbone, bend your knees, rock to the left and to the right. This time we'll round our spine, take our forehead towards our knees, hold.
drop your head back, lengthen both legs up. Then palms on the mat, slowly release your heels. Find a point to hover and hold. And then release your feet all the way down towards the floor. Last round, we bend our knees, rock to the left and to the right. Round your spine, forehead towards your knee, chin towards chest. Drop your feet onto the floor. Lift your hips as high as you can, engaging your glutes here. Imagine a cord lifting you up from the center of your abdomen. Hold. Inhale here. Exhale, release your hips, feet float off the floor. Grab your feet with your hands, start to lengthen one leg more than the other. Bend one knee more generously than the other. You can rock to the left, to the right. We're gonna get a final stretch here. Ankles, calves, hamstrings, hips. Around the lower back, you can massage the mid-back. Remember to breathe, a nice even breath. And then release your feet. We'll transition now into our final resting pose of the class. Palms face up towards the ceiling, legs are stretched out. This is the pose that helps us integrate our practice, letting go, receiving. We practice the wisdom here of doing nothing, being still. You have the option of intentionally practicing long breaths, but it can be challenging. Or you can allow your breath to go back to its natural rhythm, no control of the breath. Either is available. And notice that as we're integrating our practice holistically, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Allow yourself to experience whatever it is that you need to experience. Soften the forehead, jaw, neck, shoulders, down to your wrists, palms, fingertips. Soften down the spine, releasing the upper back, mid back, lower back. Just a little further. And the area around your tailbone, soften there, around your hips, down behind your knees, down your calves, ankles, heels, and toes. Imagine yourself softening further, floating just a little bit more. Observe any thoughts and sensations. Just notice. And then we'll start to shift our attention to our breath. Inviting a generous inhale and exhale. You can invite a full body stretch and turn your body to one side, allowing it to remain heavy and relaxed. Being intentional about that generous and leisurely breath. Here we slow down our relationship to time. We continue to integrate the stillness and spaciousness cultivated throughout the class. Invite a generous breath here, 2 or 3. And then we'll start to shift into our seated position to conclude class. Find a comfortable seat. And then we'll take a moment to acknowledge here that as we welcome our breath, we welcome all of our experience. And in honor of our breath, let's take an intentional breath cycle. Let's take our hands in front of our heart center. Let's inhale here. And exhale. Noticing the blessings and everything we've learned throughout 2020. We inhale and exhale, knowing that we can always return to our breath. Inhale here and exhale. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me sees the highest in you. May we walk with each other in gratitude